Welcome, everybody. We are going to move to meeting our friend Ellis Wilson. So Ellis is a really awesome artist who I discovered recently. And he was born in 1899 in a town called Mayfield in Kentucky. And then he got a little bit older, he finished school, and he decided that he wanted to really focus on art. So he went to the School of the Arts Institute of Chicago. And then after he finished his studies there, he moved to Harlem, which is in New York, and joined the Harlem Artists Guild. And so you can see him over here in this picture as he's working on a painting. And there's a quote that he said, "There is so much to paint and so little time." And I'm sure for a lot of you artists on the call tonight, that's relatable. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of things that you might think of. You might have a lot of creative ideas going on, and there's maybe not enough time to paint all of them, which is one of the reasons that it's so cool to take the time tonight to get some creative action going on our canvases. So a little bit more on Ellis. So when he arrived in New York, at the time that he moved there, African-American artists could not exhibit their work in mainstream galleries. So like the popular places to go hang your art up on the wall, they weren't allowed to hang their art up on the wall. And Ellis was not to be deterred, which means he didn't want to be held back by this. So he went to public libraries, he went to youth clubs like YMCAs, and he went to like street exhibits to display his art. And he became an active part of something called the Harlem Renaissance, which was a collaborative effort, which means a lot of people were working together to promote and exhibit, to display the work of Black artists. I'm going to show you a little bit of Ellis's art. And let's see. I'm going to go back one. Can everybody see this? This slide is showing 3 different paintings of his. And there are some interesting elements that are common throughout. Did any of you guys notice anything that really sticks out to you about these pictures? Anyone want to unmute and let us know anything that in particular that they notice?
They have no faces.
They have no faces. That's a big one for sure. Most of the figures, most of the people who Ellis painted, he painted without faces. Why do you guys think that might be? Any thoughts? So we can kind of think about why that might be. And I think for me, one guess I have is when you see somebody, you identify them usually by their face, right? So maybe he wanted people who are looking at his art to feel connected to his art and put themselves into the piece. So you might see somebody in there who you're like, I could see myself being that person, or because one of the things that he did was he painted everyday life. He wanted people to see his paintings and feel like they were being represented by them. So the faceless figures is one of them. The people are all pretty tall. They're kind of elongated, which was one of the kind of hallmarks of his style. And then, does anyone notice anything about the backgrounds? What's kind of common in the backgrounds in all 3?
The background, it kind of has like dark colors.
There's kind of contrast, right, between the people and the background. What kind of texture would you say is in the background? What do you think is being portrayed in the background?
The backgrounds, maybe like, all I can see is grass.
Like, would you say that these are being painted inside, or would you say
grass?
Are outside in the grass, right? Oh, we have a hand up.
The background is pretty much Mother Nature.
Say it again.
Wait, a little louder, please.
The background is pretty much nature.
Yeah, it's pretty much nature, exactly. And he painted a lot of his scenes, took place outdoors. And one of the things that I really like about his pictures, I love color. I love bright colors. And in my art, I like to use a lot of bold colors. And so I love how he uses those kind of strong yellows and deep colors too. So like deep blacks, bright whites, purples, and pinks. I just really enjoy that. But we are going to get started on our own pictures, right? So before we get started, I want to make sure that we all have what we need. So we're not running back and forth during while we're trying to work on our paintings. So if you are using the medium of paint tonight, which if you don't have paint, that is okay. But if you are working with paint tonight, you're going to need several things. You're going to need some water. You're going to need some paper towels or something like a napkin, something that you can dab your brush on. You might want to mix some colors this evening. So a paper plate or a plate covered in tin foil or something that you can get messy would be good for that. Then, of course, our lovely paint. You're going to want that. Paintbrush, one or more. And then your art piece, right? Your canvas or your paper, whatever you have available to you. And if you do not have any paint at hand, don't worry about that. Markers, colored pencils, crayons, whatever you've got, we can work with that. Okay? So let's give me a thumbs up if you are good to go. And I'm going to shut the door real quick so that you guys can hear me over the vacuum. One moment. All right, perfect. AJ, does it look like we are good to go? We're all supplied up in here?
It does look like we are good to go.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited. So what we're going to paint today is we're going to paint some people in the same style as our friend Ellis Wilson. So those people can be wearing whatever color clothes you want. Their hair can be whatever kind of hair you want. You can customize the piece. So don't feel like what I'm putting up here is exactly what you need to put on your paper. I want you to feel free to express that artistic genius that you are bringing here tonight. So I'm going to show you a little sample that I cooked up the other day of the guide that we're going to use. And I'm going to paint along on the screen and we'll paint together. But this is kind of the product that we're working with. We've got a nice fellow here with a basketball and then a gal hula hooping. So as you can see, we've got some bright colors. We have faceless figures. This girl looks like if she was standing up, she'd be pretty tall. She might pop off the canvas. All right, so that's what we're gonna aim for tonight. And you can kind of see, here's a sketch that I planned out, what it'll look like. So we're gonna start by painting kind of the base of our people. We're going to add some layers on as we go. So some ground rules. We don't want to use too much paint or it'll make it really hard to layer. So we need to use kind of thin strokes, and you're going to want to, as you need to, use your water to kind of smooth the edges out, okay? Because sometimes this kind of paint can get a little bit gloopy, all right? So we are going to start by, I want you to choose what color, whatever color you would like your person's face and arms and legs to be, go ahead and mix that now. So you can either use a color that's straight out of the paint pot, or you can mix up a color of your own choosing. And some of us are working with different paint colors than others, but experiment a little bit on what shades you get when you maybe add a little bit of black or a little bit of red or a little bit of yellow or different tones that you can add to the shades that you have available to you to get whatever color you're looking for. So everybody's going to look a little bit different, just like in real life. All right, so I'm going to use this nice kind of rich color here, this rich brown color, and I'm going to add a little bit of depth to it. So I'm going to kind of experiment a little bit with maybe if I put a little red in there, see where that goes, and then maybe you'd even try a little blue, a little black. I think mixing colors is one of the most fun parts of painting because you kind of know it's going to happen, but you never really know until you give it a try, right? So let's see, once you have a color that you're feeling good about and you have enough that you feel confident you can paint a little circle with it, we're going to get started with our faces. So we're going to start with the boy and then we're going to do the girl next. So we're going to work half and half, okay? So about this portion of the page, maybe like a third of the way in, but near the top, we're going to paint. We're going to just start putting some paint on the canvas. A nice oval. And you might want your oval to be more round or more long. That is up to you. All right. So we want a nice circle. You might notice if you're painting on the canvas that the edges of your lines might be a little bit rough. And that's because there are bumps on the canvas, and that is okay. You're just gonna go back with a little bit more paint and trace that line again. And it'll kind of fill in those gaps that are made by the ridges in the canvas. So once you've got that face, we're gonna make, what's the next part? What do you guys think? The neck, right? So underneath the face, I'm gonna make him a neck. And then we're gonna kind of start into his shoulders, right? So right this area. And remember, we don't just have his arms coming straight out of his neck, right? We need to have some space. So you might put kind of a faint line so you can kind of judge like where the arm starts. So I'm gonna put a little bit of a line here and a little bit of a line here. And we're going to put his jersey on in a minute, but this will help us know where to draw the sleeves, etc. All right. And then we're going to kind of make a very faint line for his torso so we know kind of where the middle of his body is. And then we're going to make a faint line for his hips, faint line for the legs. And then as you get down towards the bottom, obviously his shorts are down here, right? So we're just gonna make this kind of faint frame to start, okay? So we've got kind of like a stick figure almost, just with some extra lines in there. We've got one coming down from the neck, one going across for the hips, then lines down for the legs. All right. So next, we've got his arms.
Can you zoom in?
I can attempt. I'm working with a laptop here, so I can't. Let's see. Is that good? All right, let's see if I can adjust it so the angle is a little better. Okay, is that good? All right, I might need to move it back and come back and forth a little bit as we go, just so I can see it. But are we all kind of, we've got our stick figure-ish frame without his arms. We don't have his arms yet. All right, so we're gonna do that next because that is pretty important. So we're gonna do on one side, you can choose what side. Maybe he's left-handed, maybe he's right-handed, you choose. We're gonna make a line coming down for his shoulder into his arm. And you can go ahead and if you want, you can put your arm down by your side and see where your hand hits. So where your hand would go in relation to his leg, if that makes sense. Because we don't want him to have too short arms or super long arms either. But we want him to be able to play basketball, right? So do our little arm. And again, kind of take your time with this. You might need to fill in some gaps as you go because of the texture of the canvas. You can kind of make his hand curl a little bit at the bottom if you want. All right. And then once you're feeling good about that arm, we are going to go ahead and do the next arm. So we're going to do his upper arm first. And the upper arm is going to be a little bit thicker than the next part of his arm, right? Because he's got some big muscles there. We've got his elbow, right? And then you're going to do, so it's kind of like a crooked V shape or sideways V. You can experiment with kind of where you want his elbow to be. And then we're going to put his hand like this, like he's holding the basketball. All right, because the basketball is going to go right here. So we're going to go kind of like a crescent moon. All right. So we've got sort of the structures of his arms and his face taken care of. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to come back to his legs because we want to kind of know where his clothes are before we start really aggressively painting the legs, right? Because it can be hard to layer the paint. So you might want to wash your brush off, or if you have another brush, you can use a different brush. I'm going to clean my brush off because I like the one that I'm using. And what I usually do is you put it in the water, kind of get the extra paint off, and then dab it on the paper towel to make sure that there's nothing else stuck in there that's going to mix with your other colors. So this next part is where you can be as creative as you want. We're going to paint his jersey. So you might want his jersey to be blue, you might want it to be orange, you might want it to be hot pink, you might want it to be striped or whatever you can come up with. And that is awesome. So we're going to go ahead and paint his jersey. And I'm going to do green. You can paint the color of your favorite team if you want. You can paint the color of your school. I'm going to do green because I'm just liking the way that looks right now. And take your time getting that down. See how my arm didn't quite reach all the way over to where I want his sleeve to be? So I can come back and fill that little space in later when I'm doing the legs. We're going to go ahead and pull that paint down. Get him a nice jersey. You might want to put a number on his jersey if you want. Maybe you have a lucky number or a sports number you like to use. Your favorite athlete has a number that you like. All right, make sure that you get all the way up to the top. I'm gonna add some lime green there. All right. All right, if anyone wants to show what they have so far and show us your person with his jersey on, you can do that, or maybe raise your hand if you want to show it so that we can spotlight your video. Ah, I see some movement here. Carter, are you raising your hand? Thumbs up, thumbs down? No, Carter's not raising his hand. What about, Chrissia and company, show us what you got.
You seen this too? It says peace.
Nice, I like it. Good colors, very bold. I like it, thanks for sharing. Cool, anyone else want to share? We've got, let's see, I think I can spotlight you. Yes, go ahead, Sophia. Love it, nice work. I like that, the red jersey there, and his hand is so ready for that basketball, I can tell. Awesome, thank you. Anyone else want to share maybe one more before we move along? You got it. Awesome, number 1, that's what we like to see. Nice work. Nice. You a Lakers fan? All right. All right, I'm not a Celtics fan. That's not why I'm using green. I just like green right now. Okay, so next, we're gonna go ahead and make our friend here shorts. So you can, again, choose whatever color you think would be best suited for that. I'm gonna do some black shorts, maybe with some white stripes on the side or something like that. So remember where you painted the strokes down for the legs? I'm gonna put the shorts there. Remember, you wanna kind of leave a gap there. There's 2 legs. Maybe he has more baggy shorts. Maybe he has less baggy shorts. Maybe his shirt's tucked in. Maybe his shirt's not tucked in. And if at any point you think, oh, I made a little mistake or something like that, that is okay. You can always adjust. You can use a little bit of white paint to remove anything or kind of cover it over. There. I'm gonna make his shorts a little bit shorter. Right. Okay. Make this leg a little thicker. All right. Once you're feeling good about the pair of shorts, you can go ahead and work on his legs. So you're gonna wanna go back to You might need to mix a little bit more depending on how your paint supply is going. And we're gonna go back and we're gonna do some lines coming down from his shorts for his legs. You gotta remember what formula you were using to mix your colors. And if you want, you can kind of use a little bit of a different shade of brown for maybe the kneecap, or you can try to add a little bit of definition. But you're gonna want, whenever you're feeling good about that, you can go ahead and you can touch up any other places that you see are like missing a spot. So like my shoulder here needs a little help. So I'm gonna go ahead back. Fill that in a little bit.
Mariah, what would I do to correct my little stubby arm? Like, I didn't make my arm long enough.
So I would, well, think about how your arm is built, right? So you've got kind of this part of the arm, but you also need this part, right?
Oh, okay.
So maybe if you draw like imagine your hand is all the way up in the air. Like put your hand up in the air and you can have where you have the hand, you can make that be the elbow.
Okay, thank you.
Makes sense?
Yep.
All right, so go ahead and kind of you can touch up as you go. If you are feeling ready, I'm gonna scoot him back a little bit so you can see. You can go ahead and add his shoes. For me, when I was doing this last iteration, the shoes were my favorite part. I enjoyed designing his Jordans. But you can kind of...
The number in the middle is supposed to be a number 14. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. You can go ahead and make kind of a box to start coming out from his ankle. Use whatever color you want. And then he's going to be wearing high tops, at least kind of need his ankle there. We've got his foot coming out to the side, and then maybe one is at a bit of an angle here. And maybe you want to add those kind of like Velcro parts that go over like here on some shoes. Maybe you want to add different colored sole to the shoe, which is the bottom of the shoe. Add a little definition there. You could add laces if you want. Add a stripe, you add a Nike check, whatever sounds good to you. And then if you're feeling good about your shoes, you can go ahead and give him some hair, unless you want him not to have hair, which is also okay. I'm gonna give my friend here some hair. So I'm gonna kind of frame his head a little bit because you've got. Gracias. No. Okay. All right. So we are going to draw his hair. You can give him whatever kind of hairstyle you want. All right. Make sure he's.
I got it.
Have someone want to show? I thought I heard someone. Maybe
Yes,
not.
I gotta show something.
Yes, show us.
How you show this thing?
I can't see. Let's see, where are we?
Kiana, there should be a button to turn your camera back on. I think I can like request that you do it. Let me see. Here we go. We see you. Let me spotlight you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a baby sister and a big brother and a big sister.
Love it. Love that you've got a whole family there. Nice. Wow, you were ahead of the game there. You got the basketball already. Awesome work.
Good job, Kaylee and Kalia.
Yeah, nice. Thank you for sharing. So that is going to bring us to our next step. If you're ready, you can go ahead and add your basketball. All right. So the basketball is going to go up here in his hand. So we're going to try to get a nice circle here. It's a little difficult from this. He's kind of got his palm on the basketball. Got a nice orange circle there. And then we're gonna let it dry a little bit before we add the lines because we don't want it all to smudge together. So I'm gonna give mine a moment. And while we're taking that moment to let that dry, you can do any touch-ups you wanna do, make any adjustments. I'm gonna do a little more work on my friend's shorts here. All right. Let's see. How are we feeling? Are we ready to move on to our friend, the girl with the hula hoop? And then we'll come back and we can add some details once the canvas is a little more dry. Does that sound good? All right. A little bit. Okay. All right. So.
Mommy.
Hello. That smells good back there. It don't come in.
All right. So we can go ahead and get started on the girl. And I'm going to show you again how I drew, or the way I drew her. She's kind of in the middle of her hula hooping moment there. And so that you can go for this kind of an image, or you could go for, maybe you would rather have her jumping rope. That's cool too, because it's a similar kind of. But we're gonna go ahead and you can again mix whatever skin tone you would like to use. Hello? Yes?
I got a question.
Yes, ask away.
I made a little brother.
Yeah? Made a little addition to the family?
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
Let me see.
Yeah, I see. I like it. Very nice.
Look.
All right. So now we are going to, you need to make sure that you give enough space to the fellow with the basketball so that the hula hooper isn't going to get messed up in her hula hooping by the basketball guy. So I'm going to kind of maybe over here, and I'm going to start painting her face. And again, we're doing our little Ellis Wilson-style. There, got a nice face, but her eyes or her nose or her mouth. Maybe in your style of drawing, you prefer to have eyes and a nose and a mouth, and that's cool if you want to add that. I'm gonna leave mine Ellis Wilson style this evening. Then we got her neck. And we're gonna follow kind of a similar strategy to what we did with Basketball Friend. All right. So we're kind of give her some shoulders, give her some space for her arms. And so what I have is she's got her arms out because she's balancing. She's got her arms kind of bent like this. So we've got her. It's kind of like a very wide V, and then maybe her hand is kind of open, like that. And remember, when you're painting, where your joints are is usually it kind of comes in a little bit and then goes out for your hand. All right. And then similarly, we're going to draw her arm on this side, coming down to her elbow. And then her hand. All right. So we've got kind of the beginnings of her balancing, right? And then for me, when I'm painting, it's easiest to kind of give a little bit of a frame of reference so that we're not just putting like lines down here for her legs where we don't know where the middle of her body is. So we're going to do kind of a light line for her body, and she's kind of leaning back, which is why it's slanted, right? Then we're going to do a line that's almost straight, but a little bit tilted down, and then one that's almost straight down, but a little tilted out. And so that's like her thigh, her femur, that upper part of her leg. And then we've got our knees, right? So there's a bend, and then that's where her leg is going to come down to meet her shoe, right? So she's got her legs, so she's bracing herself while she's hula hooping, right? So then the way that I have my girl wearing a dress, but you can have her wearing a skirt or shorts or skinny jeans or whatever you'd like her to be wearing. But since I know my girl's wearing a dress, I'm going to go ahead and fill in her legs a little bit down here while I have that color on my brush. All right. And I'm just doing a little bit of a touch up here. Give her a little more of an elbow. All right. All right, so we've kind of got the figure of her body there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pick the color of her dress. And you can, again, pick whichever color you want to use. I'm going to use this nice kind of sky blue color. And you can make her dress whatever style you want, or you could, like I said before, it doesn't have to be a dress. I'm going to give her kind of some little cap sleeves. Down. Now remember, she's moving, so her clothes are going to be moving with her, right? So I'm going to give kind of a little squiggle down there to her dress because the fabric is kind of moving as she's hula hooping, right? I'm going to go ahead and capture that. Really like this bold blue we have here. It's like a perfect sunny day color. All right. And then I'm gonna actually make her shoes the same color as her dress. 'Cause she's feeling matchy today. But you can do whatever kind of shoes you want. You can give her maybe some kind of like casual sneakery shoes. So just kind of be some lines with a little bit of a curve at the top. And again, you can add laces. A little bit of color down here. Give her some purple laces. I don't know if you can see that. You can add maybe some polka dots or little stars, or just like you could add a number or whatever to the basketball player. You can add some decorations to her clothes. And when you're ready, go ahead and
I
do
made
it.
a big sister.
Made a big sister. Wow, that family is growing
She
as we speak.
She has a question. I'm gonna share the screen.
Yeah. All right. Someone said they had a question. Where did they go? All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start adding her hair. And if the question is still there, feel free to let us know. You can give her a ponytail. You can give her a bun. You can give her a little center part, some curtain bangs, whatever kind of hair you would like to give her. I'm going to give her some pigtails.
Can I share something?
Yes. I can't see who is speaking, but show us. Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh. Wait, can you show us again? And just hold it still for a second so you can really see it. That is beautiful. Wow, nice work. Very good, very good. Thank you for showing us. If anyone else wants to show their work, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and give us a little shout, and we will spotlight you.
Carter's ready to share. So.
Awesome. Carter, what you got?
All right. Okay. This is what he's doing so far. He got an afro girl in there. He put an afro.
Yeah, I love it. Is she wearing earrings too? That's cool.
Yeah, so this is her.
Nice work, Carter. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Okay.
Anyone else want to pop on and show us what they're working on? I love it. Y'all, this is so cool. Thank you for showing us. Awesome. Very good. Thank you. And then let's see, we can go ahead and spotlight you. All right, Sophia. Beautiful. I love it. Y'all are talented. Nice work. Awesome. We've got another one. AJ, if we can spotlight some of our other friends here. Yes. Wow, number 7. Beautiful. Nice. Good color choice for the dress. Who we have? Alicia.
I show it. It's already.
This is mine.
Move it back.
Beautiful. Nice. Thank you for showing us.
No problem.
Awesome. Well, we are going to go ahead and add some details now, if you guys are ready. And I'm going to tell you guys a cool trick that Miss Naima actually taught me, that you can use the bottom of the brush, the pointy part down here. Like if this is the part that you usually paint with, you can dip this part in some paint and get a nice sharp line. So for example, for the basketball here, if I used a brush like this one, the lines might cover up the whole basketball, but I'm gonna go ahead and try this cool trick where you dip the bottom of the brush into the paint. So you've got it, let's see right there. And then you're gonna do one curved line. And then I gotta dip it into some more paint. Do another line. And then I'm gonna do one line down the middle. Kind of curve it with the shape of the basketball. And then we're gonna do one line across through these curves to give us that classic basketball lines there. All right. And then we're, of course, missing the girls' hula hoop, right? So this is kind of the general direction that I have her hula hooping, but you can put that hoop wherever you think that it belongs. So you're not going to draw the hoop because you need the hoop to be around her. So you might, let's see if I can put her over here too, so you can see her twice. You might have, let's see. You're gonna kind of do like a continuous circle, but without touching it. So like, without continuing it over the body, and then we'll go back there. Maybe it's about to hit her hip again. So I'll scrape it along here. Also, make sure that if you have enough paint on your brush, then you won't get as much of those kind of scrapey lines. All right. And again, you can use whatever color for the hula hoop. You could even make it striped, be striped. My favorite hula hoop was striped. All right. So you can go ahead and add whatever touch-ups you want to add. You can go ahead and you can put a floor down if you want. You can draw a sun up in the sky. You can add some of those cool green leaf background elements. I might do some of those kind of by the border. Just have some. You can do these kind of broad strokes, right? Where you're just kind of like smacking the paper with the brush almost. You can use different colored greens. You can mix some colors. Give it a little border. To give it that outdoorsy feel, right? That we had in Ellis Wilson's paintings. Some over here. He actually had leaves and kind of palm plants all through the background. I'm not going to go all the way on my background because I want you to be able to really focus on the kids in the picture. But if you want to go all the way on the background, and that's cool too. I could also see it could be cool to have sky behind them with some clouds, have kind of a dreamy feel to it. And again, you can experiment with those, with mixing those colors. So I'm gonna mix some green, and I'm gonna see what happens when I add some yellow to it. You get kind of a bright yellow green color. Awesome. Nice work, you guys. Love it. Love it. If anyone wants to tell us a little bit about their picture, maybe if it made you think of something, or if it reminds you of something.
My picture that I drew reminds me of a football time because I really like the NFL and I really like football. So I drew a time where it was really funny because so someone was about to get the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And another person was about to take them down, but they did a surprising catch and they caught the ball without anybody knowing, and they just ran.
That's awesome.
Ran off. Nobody knew. So I decided, because I thought of that as soon as I thought of the painting, I thought of that.
Yeah, very cool.
Let me draw that. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to draw things when there's motion and action going on, because it's really fascinating that you can capture a moment like that even though the paper itself isn't moving, right? That is one of the amazing things about art, is you can really capture that moment. Just like a photograph, and sometimes even better than a photograph. Let's see, Chris, we can, oop. Let's see. Nice. We got that piece rock. You want to tell us a little bit about that? I think you're muted. There you go.
It says peace.
Yeah.
Look, I do a B. And he
Nice.
did a B.
I love that. I think bees are one of the coolest animals out there, honestly.
And Chrissia did this one.
Wow. Wow. You've got kind of like a rainbow and a mandala kind of thing going on there. That's awesome. Did working on this make you guys think of anything in particular?
It helped I don't know.
Yeah. Does painting maybe make you feel a certain type of way? Like, does it make you feel relaxed or brilliant? Or I think that doing art, I find it really relaxing because you kind of get into your zone. Anyone else want to share where they're at? Again, you can add your background as you go. Awesome. Well, let's see. let's take the next minute or so to kind of wrap up where you are on your picture, and then we're all going to share. We're going to make everybody's squares the same size in a minute, and we're going to all show our pictures at the same time, okay? I think that it'll be really cool to see what everyone's been working on. So go
Miss
ahead.
Mariah, can you tell me the name of the guy again?
Yes, Ellis Wilson.
Ellis, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. I was saying Wilson Ellis, and I was like, I think I.
Yeah. It works both ways. I realized that my hula hooper girl is kind of floating in the air right now, so I'm going to give her some greenery to stand on. Right. I'm going to take maybe the next 30 seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and share what we got. And the cool thing about art is because a lot of art isn't just about the finished product, it's about the process. So even if you're not finished, you can still show us where you are. And we would love to see what you've been working on. All right. All right, let's see. AJ, can we make everybody's squares be the same size? Let's see.
So the spotlight is removed, so if you put your screen in gallery, we should all be able to see.
Awesome. All right. So let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and pop mine actually off of the easel here. And that way we can, everybody can show their picture to the screen. Very cool. I love seeing everybody's interpretations of the background. We've got some flowers in there. Nice. Lots of leaves. Wow, you guys, and all the different clothing. So much creativity. Awesome work. Awesome. Well, wow, guys, you guys did some awesome work tonight. Thank you so much for joining us at our first workshop. And the cool thing is we've actually got some more workshops this month where we're going to be doing some other cool activities. And AJ, can you remind us which one is next week?
Sure. So next week we have our dance workshop, and we're going to be doing a little bit of Zumba and maybe a little bit of step dancing.
Ooh, very cool.
So look out for an email. You'll get an email with a link to register, and it'll be on Zoom just like this one.
Awesome. So we have something, if I'm correct, every Friday for the rest of February.
Yep. So we have dance next week. We have our open mic night with Naima the next Friday, and then our last Friday, all the paintings and poetry that you've made this month, we're going to have a chance to hang it up at both Sacramento and Creekside so you can share with your community what you made.
Yes.
So
awesome.
if you want your painting to be shown, you can take a picture of it and send it to us, or you can drop it off at Creekside or at Sacramento Center, and we will put it up in our gallery.
Yes, just like Ellis Wilson displayed his work, you too can display yours. So thank you guys so much for joining us. This was awesome. We hope to see you at our next workshop. And maybe if we can all come off our mutedness real quick and we can say good night to each other, or good evening. I guess it's 7:13.
Oh, yeah. Say good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. It was awesome to meet you. Thanks for coming. Y'all have a good evening.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye. This was
Bye-bye.
great. Good job.
Great job, guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.